Hello everyone. So me and Afif from Group 8, we're going to discuss about the data visualization and types of data visualization. So the table of content consists of three main points. The first one is purpose of data visualization, second benefit of data visualization, and the last one is the types of data visualizations. So before we move to the our main content, I would like to explain about data visualization definition. So it is the graphical representation of data and information using visual elements such as charts, graphs, maps, and other interactive tools. The purpose is to present complex data sets and patterns in a visual format that is easily understandable and interpretable by humans. So what is the purpose of data visualization? The main thing that we understand is to make sense of the data and use the information for the organization's benefit. And for the detail, it's the data visualization strengthens the impact for messaging for your audiences and presents the data analysis result in the most persuasive manner. It unifies the messaging system across all the groups and fields within the organization. The visualization lets you comprehend vast amount of data at a glance and in a better way. It helps to understand the data better to measure its impact on the business and communicate the insight visually to internal and external audiences. Lastly, its available data and insights enable decision makers to aid decision analysis. Unbiased data without inaccuracies allow access to the right kind of information and visualization to represent that information and keep it relevant. And these are the benefits. The first one, it solves data inefficiencies and absorb vast amount of data presented in visual format. Next is increases the speed of decision making, continued by identified error and inaccuracies in data quickly, and also access real-time information and assets in management function. The fifth point is it promotes storytelling and conveys the right message to the audience, explore business insight and achieve business goals in the right direction, and also can stay on the top of the game by discovering the latest trend. Last but not least is to optimize and instantly retrieve data via tailor-made reports. So here is the example of visualizing the data. So it could be in any kind of sector, but for the example, I use the education sector. So here we are going to compare between three teachers. There are Justin, Tim, and Grace. And we measure through each component known as knowledge, functional, helpful, effectiveness, and delivery. And they also score for each individual. By looking at the raw data here, it's quite hard to process it and know what its meaning. So therefore, we decide to visualize the data into the chart, and here's the result. So basically, there are three colors represent its individual Justin, Tim, and Grace. And by looking at the graph here, we can easily know what they're lacking from, or maybe what they're good at. Let's just say the first character like Grace, uh, she's really good at knowledge and she's a punctual person, but maybe for the delivery and effectiveness and also helpful, it's quite lack. But in overall, we can also see that these three teachers have not enough good result on the delivery. So by using the visualizing the data, we can get the meaning or the main point of the data easily and quickly. And for the further discussion and example of type of the data, it will be discussed by my colleague. Thank you.
Okay, now moving on into the data visualization types. In this case, there are seven that mainly used by data analytics and also data scientists. The first one is bar chart, followed by pie chart, line chart, array chart, scatter plot, bubble chart, and also heat map. The first one is the most obvious and is the most used one, which is bar chart. So bar charts are very versatile. They are best used to show change over time and also compare different categories or compare parts of a whole. So it can be used in a vertical line or a horizontal line. And it's best used for chronological data. Time series should always run left to right or when visualizing a negative values below the x-axis. So in this case, the example is page views by months. And the horizontal one is best used for data with long category labels. For example, in this case, we have educational information and also thought leadership, which is long that make the reader easily read the category and also the bar chart that represent the category. Second one, we also have a variation of bar chart itself. The first one is stack and also 100% stack. So the first stack one is basically just a 3-bar chart in one bar. In this case, the example is monthly traffic by source. And there are 3 types, 3 categories, which is email marketing, organic search, and paid search. Because this is divided into 3 months in the first quarter, we can see that the paid search is in the bottom, followed by organic search in the middle, and also the email marketing. And this is best used when there is a need to compare multiple parts to whole relationship. And this can use discrete or continuous data or oriented either vertically or horizontally. It can also used by horizontally. And then the 100% stack is near just like the stack one, but we can see more the proportion because in this case we see each month that how many percentage or uh, how many area that they use. So it's best used when the total value of each category is unimportant and the percentage distribution of subcategories is the primary message. The next one is how to use bar chart itself. So the best practice for designing a bar chart, you need to use the horizontal labels of its steep, diagonal, or vertical type, as it can be difficult to read. And then use the space bars appropriately. The space between bars should be half of the bar width itself. And then start the y-axis value at 0, not into an occurring number. And then use consistent colors and also order data appropriately. So the next one is just an example of the bar graph itself. We see that there is the number of police officers in the 1993 to 2001. We can see that there is a clear trend. In this case, we can also see the number of immigrants on the bottom left and also internet use at school by which gender. In this case, they provide information that the readers can actually see clearly because they can see the denominator greater than the uh, other types of data visualization. So in this case, this is a bad visualization data because we see that the difference between years is only 5, but the graph, the readers see the graph and on the first hand, they see like there is a lot of the differentiate between the cells, even though it's only differentiate between 5, between 15, between 1, and between 3. This is the better example of the bar chart. So yeah, because the y-axis scale gives the wrong impression, they need to start with 0. In this case, they start with 2000 95. This is better, but we cannot clearly see like the differentiate between the sales itself, but it's clearly represent the better sales on the years itself. So the second one is the pie chart. Pie charts are best used for making part to whole comparisons with discrete or continuous data. They are most impactful with a small data set, so not too much or not too long. Uh, there are two in this case, which is the standard or the donut. So the standard is used to show part to whole relationships, and donut is just a variation that enable the inclusion of a total value or design element in the center. So you can put, for example, the total participant or the total data in the middle. And then this is how we use pie chart on the data visualization. We see that the first one is only have two variables, and then the second one have many, but not that much. But I think use pie chart in a few category because it can really represent and make the data more clear to the readers. In this case, we cannot visualize more than 5 categories per chart because it will difficult to see, and then labeling them will be also difficult. And then also don't use multiple pie charts for comparison because each pie chart will be different, not all of the same. And then we need to make sure all the data adds up to 100%. And then lastly, we need to order the slides correctly. For example, from the highest to the largest, and then in the top left and the top right is the largest and followed by the small categories. Okay, so this is a bad example of a pie chart. So we cannot see like what is the highest one, what is the uh, lowest one because there's so much data categories in this case. So if you can on the pie chart, it's maximum of 5 categories. The third one is the line chart. So line chart are used to show time series relationships with continuous data. They help show trend, acceleration, deceleration, and volatility. So in this case, I'm using a direct marketing views by date. You see that there's a trend in the fourth date, and then it also declined at the eighth and the first date. So we see that there's a trend, there's an acceleration, and there's also the declaration. So how to use and how to design the best line chart. So we need to include a zero baseline if possible. And then don't plot more than 4 lines because it will make the readers confused. And use solid lines only. Dash is only for labeling, and then label the lines directly, not on the not using for example in this case colors, but you can see they use side on the line itself, making them more quickly identify the lines. And then use the right height of the chart to make sure that the space is used and the proportion of the line and the trend is clearly seen. Okay, so this is a bad example of the line chart itself. Okay, this is also the various graph. We also can combine two line graph and also bar graph into one chart. So in this case, on the left, we have the PKB per capita, which is the bar chart, and then the line chart is the this word. But we can see that there's a trend in here, making them comparable. Okay, so the fourth one is the area chart. So the area chart depicts a time series relationship, but they are different than line charts in that they can represent volume. So in this case, there are 3 variations. The first one is new context by source, and then new contact by source, but uh, they don't align to each other. And then also the stack area, but 100%. So the first one is the area chart. Is best used to show or compare quantitative progression over time. And then stack area is best used to visualize particle relationships, helping show how each category contribute to the cumulative total. And then lastly, the 100% stack area best used to show distribution of categories as part of a whole where the cumulative total is unimportant. So I believe that the more easier one is the stack area and the area chart. So how to design this area chart? Firstly, we need to make it easy to read in stack area charts. Arrange data the top position, categories with highly variable data on the top of the chart and low variability on the bottom. To make sure that the readers of the graph, you can see that what is the important part. And then we need to also start the y-axis value at 0, if possible, and then don't display more than 4 data categories because it will make confused. And then we need to use transparent colors, if possible, if there's overlapping, to make sure that the area is seen more clearly. And then don't use array charts to display discrete data. Okay, so the next one is the scatter plot. So scatter plot show the relationship between items based on two sets of variables. They are best used to show correlation in a large amount of data. So in this case, the example is revenue by product family, and there are four family types. Family 1 to 4. We see that uh, in the family 1, they sold around in 10, and then the revenue is around 4. We see that there's a trend of different family. There is an area that we can see that, for example, in the fourth family is on the top of the revenue and also the units sold, but in the family 1 is in the bottom. So how to design this? So the first one is like the other graph. You need to start the y-axis value at 0. Also include more variables. For example, use size and dot colors to encode additional data variables. And then you can also use trend lines to help draw correlation between the variable to show trends. And then don't use too many lines though, because it will make the data difficult to interpret. Okay, so the next one is the bubble chart. This also used regularly in data scientists or data analytics. So bubble charts are good for displaying nominal, comparison, or ranking relationship. So there are two, which is bubble plot and also bubble map. So in this case, is the revenue versus rating, and we see that the bigger the bubble is also the higher or the larger the production cost itself. So in this case, the largest is 600, then the lowest is 100. We also can see that the product type is color coded in the product type on 1 to 4. So this is best used to display an additional variable on the bubble map itself. It's best used for visualizing values for specific geographic regions. For example, in this case, we have a US map. For example, we see that they regularly use for elections or polls to see that where the areas vote the candidate 1 or 2 that much. Okay, so how do we design a best practice for a bubble chart? Make sure that the labels are visible. Don't be like overlap about the labels, and then size the bubble approximately. Don't make it too large. For example, in this case, if the multiplication is 2 times, make the circle 2 times larger. Don't make it even more larger. And then don't use odd shapes. Just use a bubble that, for example, a circle that makes readers see clearly about the results of the data. Okay, so the last one is there are 10 data visualization tools and tones. So the first one is use one color to represent each category. And then we also need to order data sets using logical hierarchy. So the third one is use callouts to highlight important or interesting information. Fourth one is visualize data in a way that is easy for readers to compare values. And then lastly, use icons to enhance comprehensions and reduce unnecessary labeling. We also uh, There are five don'ts also. Don't use high contrast color combinations such as red green or blue yellow, because this will confuse readers. And then don't use 3D charts. They can skew perception of the visualization. However, uh, for example, if the data is clearly clearly seen in the 3D, you can use that. And then the eighth, don't add chart chunk, unnecessary illustration, or drop shadows in the data. And then don't use more than 6 colors in a single layout. And then don't use distracting fonts or elements such as bold, italic, or underline text. So I think there's all the types and the design tips for all the data types of visualization. However, there are lots of the types of data visualization because uh, the seven the seven that I explained is only the basic and the most common one. But if you guys have any question about the others, feel free to comment and ask a question about it. I will uh, I will answer as best as I can. So the next one is about the case example about I'm going to take the Amazon Quick site. So it's about the cloud computing of Amazon. So Amazon QuickSight is a scalable serverless embedded machine learning powered business intelligence or BI service built for the cloud. And QuickSight lets you easily create and publish interactive BI dashboard that include machine learning powered insights. And also QuickSight dashboards can be accessed from any device and similarly embedded into your application portals and websites. So in this case, for example, we have a business that use the AWS of Amazon, of the cloud computing of Amazon. We can see that they provide a dashboard that can be set into the manager's liking. For example, in this case, we have a donut chart by donut chart type of the sale industry. We also have a line trend of the sales trend, the order trend with using lines. And then we also see on the left, we have a heat map and then a bar chart. And then also the top customer by sales and profit. I believe it is the percentage or the area map. Because of this, all of the types of visualization is used to represent and to see whether the business is staying afloat or not. Uh, okay, so in this visualization services, uh, the data itself can recognize patterns, and then it will see, like it will identify and get insight. For example, we can use about the types of KPIs relationship between categories, comparison, distribution, and composition. Because in business itself, there is so much data that we can see, for example, ratios, the revenues, the expenses, and also the each database of for some other product. There's so much things that we can use and utilize for visualization. And then in this case, it's about the relationship. So we can establish or prove whether a relationship exists between two or more variables. So in this case, the example is scatter chart comparing stock price to price changes if there is any irrelevant relationship. Then we also can see that on the graph, there's bubble chart demonstrating relationship between ROI, investment time, and investment size. And then also Amazon Cloud Service and data analytics, they provide like the comparisons between each other, between like types each other. So in this case, we have the example is the line chart between the price and then also the symbol of the stock price itself. And then this is I think it's an interesting one because compositions is seen not that many uh, in academic, but I believe that in business it will be used. So they also provide like a composition chart that can like show the composition of stock names. In this case, you see that on the graph itself, on the sample, Amazon owns 10,000 shares, for example. And then this is also a quite uh, just capabilities that QuickSight have because they can build visualization and perform analysis and quickly get business insight from the data. And there are the capabilities. There's so much, which like data source types, SPI, SE or SPICE, analysis, visuals, machine learning, sheets, stories, dashboard, and also operational characteristics. And then this is the example of the dashboard itself. We can see that it's like the Power BI that we already conduct before. So in this case, however, we use the cloud computing Amazon that already have. We also can visualize for example, the graph, the bar chart. Also, we can also use pivot table to filter the data that we want to see. We also have insights, then parameters, and also actions that what we can do on the dashboard itself. Okay, so I think that's all from us. Thank you for listening. And if you have any question or comments regarding our presentation, you can drop them in the Google Classroom comments. Yeah, thank you.